Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Approximately about 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, in the Arab news there was an article. There was a poor Arab lady and she had children, she had a husband, but they didn't have a home. And they didn't have the means, they didn't have the wealth also to purchase a home. So every day what this lady used to do, at the time of iftar, she used to get her entire family together. And the entire family at the time of iftar, they used to sit and they used to make dua to Allah Ta'ala. That Allah Ta'ala must give them a home. They didn't have the means, but they made dua to Allah Ta'ala. After some time, after 1 or 2 months after Ramadan, I think it was, one day her husband, he went for the Asr Salah. When he came out from the Asr Salah, there was an Arab man that was waiting outside. He called him and he told him that, see, today I made niyyah that the first person that will come out of the masjid after Asr Salah, I will give him my home free of charge. And he gave him the entire home. So when a person returns to Allah Ta'ala, he makes dua to Allah Ta'ala, then how doesn't Allah Ta'ala open the way for such a person? We don't have to have the means. We just need that connection with Allah. And when we have that connection with Allah, Allah will take care of everything. In approximately 1990 August, Iraq, they had attacked Kuwait. They had attacked Kuwait approximately at that time. So when they attacked Kuwait, all the people, they were fleeing their homes, they were running away, all of them fearing their lives. So one family, they decided early in the morning after Fajr, we will also leave and we will try and get away from the Iraqis. So after Fajr Salah, they all got together, they got into the car and they left Kuwait. So there was an elderly grandmother that was with them. And the grandmother was also in the car. And she, the moment she got into the car, immediately she started reading Quran Sharif. She started making dua to Allah Ta'ala that Allah Ta'ala protect them. All of them, they feared their lives. And they were leaving, and while they were leaving Kuwait, they got into the desert and Alhamdulillah they were safe. But as they went along, from behind one of the sand dunes, one Iraqi soldier, he popped out. And when he popped out, he took out his gun, he was well armed also, and he stopped this car. So the car stopped. When they stopped, he came, he looked at every passenger that was in the car, and then he started questioning them. After questioning them, he threatened them also. Then he told them that, where are you people off to? So they said, we're trying to get away to Saudi Arabia. So the Iraqi soldier, he told them, okay, take this particular route. And on this route you will be safe, you will reach Saudi Arabia, so carry on. They drove off, and then they made shukr to Allah Ta'ala that Allah Ta'ala protected them. The grandmother, she continued, whatever she was reciting, whichever verses of the Quran Sharif, she continued with her dua, and they continued in this way. As they went a little further, then the grandmother, she now asked her son, she was actually the mother of the driver. So she asked the son, she said that Iraqi soldier that came out, did you give him something to eat? Did you give him something to drink? So he's saying that, what? You telling me to give the Iraqi soldier something to eat? And you're telling me to give the Iraqi soldier something to drink? No way. So she said, you know, how many days he must be standing here? And in the heat of the desert. And maybe he didn't even have water to drink. He didn't have food to eat. Go back and give him something to eat. So the rest of the passengers that were in the car, they said, no way. They objected to this. They said, don't ever go back. Continue. But at the end of the day, he was the son of his mother. So he had to listen to what his mother said. Allah Ta'ala put it in his heart. He turned around and he went back to the soldier. When he went back to the soldier saw the car coming. So he came out with the gun, and now he's pointing the gun towards them. So they stopped the car. He said, why you people have come back here? So they said that we came to give you water. We came to give you food. So they took out the water. He said that for the last 3 days, I haven't drank water. And I haven't eaten. So he started gulping that water. There and there he started gulping the water. As he was drinking the water, they took off again. All the passengers in the car, they took off. So when he stopped drinking, he screamed at the top of his voice. And he said, go back, go back. So these people, they came back. When they came back, they said, what's the problem now? He said that don't take that route. The route that I told you all to take, don't take that route, take another route. So the son said, but you're the one that told us to take that particular route, and that's the safest route. Now why are you telling us to take another route? He said, see, that route was not a safe route. There's a lot of explosives that are underground, landmines. There are a lot of landmines. And there are a lot of checkpoints also on this route. But this particular route, there's no checkpoints, there's nothing, there's no landmines, nothing here. You will reach your destination, inshallah, very quickly. So he said that, then he told them, he said, see, the first time I was not honest to you. I wanted you to be caught up in this route. But when you came back to me, you gave me food, you gave me water. I thought to myself that even my seniors that placed me in this position, they left me without water, they left me without food. If I had stayed over here, I would have died over here. But you brought this, you did ihsan to me, so I'm doing ihsan to you. So see the elderly people, how much of barakah in having the elderly people. In the hadith of the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam also it is mentioned, إِنَّمَا تُرْزَقُونَ بِدُعَفَائِكُمْ. When we got elderly people in our home, we take care of these elderly people. Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala will give you rosy. Allah will give you sustenance because of the weak people that are amongst you. And this hadith doesn't only refer to the elderly. It refers to, for example, somebody is crippled. Maybe there's a brother, maybe there's a son that is crippled, maybe there's a daughter that is crippled, or somebody that is paralyzed. We taking care of them. And what do we think? We think to ourselves that I'm taking care of them. I'm fulfilling their needs. Where can we fulfill the needs of anybody? Many a time it is because of them Allah is giving us rosy. Because of our children in the home, Allah Ta'ala is feeding us, Allah is giving us rosy. So we take care of these people, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala will take care of us. Many years ago, there was one elderly woman, she was the grandmother of the house, and she was sitting and she was reading namaz in the front room of the house. The rest of the family, they were sitting in one section of the house, they must have been talking, enjoying whatever they must have been doing. But it was a bit far. So she was sitting in the front and she was making her ibadah. The car was parked on the road. So while she is reading her namaz, she heard a loud, like a knock. So she screamed, so everybody ran out. When they ran out, they found that the robbers had come to steal the car. They'd already broken the door, they'd already broke the ignition also. It was just a matter of how they hotwire the car or whatever they do. It was just a matter of now starting the car and driving off. But see, she was in her ibadat, in the front portion of the house. And how Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala protected the entire family. Also we learned that when you give somebody something to eat, open our hearts and give people. How Allah will do ihsan to us, Allah will take care of us. You took care of somebody, Allah will take care of us. Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam on one occasion, Ibrahim alayhi salam was a very, very hospitable person. Ibrahim alayhi salam wouldn't sit to eat until there's somebody at the dastarkhan of Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam. So Ibrahim alayhi salam, if nobody came, he would go out and he would look for somebody and he would bring them and feed them. So one day there was nobody with Ibrahim alayhi salam, he went out. He found a person that was a mushrik. He brought that person and he said, come, sit down with me to eat. When they sat down to eat, Ibrahim alayhi salam said, say Bismillah. So this person said, no, you want to buy my iman in his term. You want to buy my iman, my faith for this one plate of food. I don't need your food. You keep your food. He got up and he walked away. Allah Ta'ala sent wahi. Allah Ta'ala inspired Ibrahim alayhi salam that this person, whole life he was in shirk. And his whole life I kept feeling this person. One day he came to your house. He didn't want to read Bismillah. You chased him away. Go and bring him back. Find him and come and bring him and feed him. So Ibrahim alayhi salam got up. He went in search of this person. He found him. Ibrahim alayhi salam brought him back. And he told him, sit down and eat. So he said, why? Why you brought me back? That you want to buy my iman, you wanted to buy my iman. So he said that, look, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala inspired me. Allah Ta'ala said wahi, that I must come and find you and I must feed you. He said, if that's Allah, he said, now I'm reciting kalima. He recited kalima, he became a mu'min, he became a believer. So when feeding people, feeding the poor, we take care of their needs, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala will protect us. Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala will take care of our needs. Haji Ahmad Nahuda Saheb rahmatullahi was very particular about this, that every day, take out a small amount, give it in sadaqah, give it to the poor. And Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala will protect us from various problems in our life, various calamities in our life. One lady, a beggar came to her house. So when the beggar came to her house, she just put the food into her mouth. And the beggar asked, so she took out the food from her mouth and she gave it to the beggar. The beggar took the food and the beggar went away. After some time, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala blessed her with a child. So this child was playing around and the wolf came. And the wolf grabbed the child in his mouth. And now the wolf started running. So the mother now, imagine how she's running behind the wolf for her child. At that time, Allah Ta'ala sends the farishta. The angel comes from the heaven and the angel takes out the child from the mouth of the wolf and then goes to this woman and says, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala has sent salam to you. And Allah says, you took out the food from your mouth for the beggar. Allah Ta'ala took out the child from the mouth of the wolf. And Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala returned the child to you. In the time of Nabi Salih alayhi salatu wasalam, there was one man who used to inconvenience everybody, cause problem to all the people. So the people got frustrated eventually. So they went to Nabi Salih alayhi salatu wasalam and they told Salih alayhi salatu wasalam that, oh Salih, make dua to Allah Tabaraka. It is enough now. We can't handle this person anymore. We can't tolerate it anymore. Salih alayhi salatu wasalam said, go, your work has been done. So these people, they went away. It is mentioned that that evening, this person came back. He is perfectly well. Nothing wrong with this person. So they came back to Salih alayhi salatu wasalam. They told Salih alayhi salatu wasalam that what is this? You told us that our need has been fulfilled. This man has come back alive. So Salih alayhi salatu wasalam said, call him to me. So he was called to Salih alayhi salatu wasalam. Salih alayhi salatu wasalam asked him a question. He said, tell me something, that what good deed did you do today? So he said, this morning when I went to the jungles to chop wood, he said that I took 2 loaves of bread. 1 loaf of bread I kept for myself, I ate the 1 loaf of bread. And the other loaf of bread I gave it out in sadaqah, I gave it out in charity. So Salih alayhi salam said that this is what protected him. So he said that, where's your bundle of wood? So he brought his bundle of wood. He said, open up the bundle of wood. They opened up the bundle of wood. There was a huge serpent that was inside, just like the logs, and it was biting on the log. Salih alayhi salatu wasalam said, had you not given that sadaqah, today this would have been the end of you. This serpent would have killed you. So when a person gives sadaqah, how Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala protects a person. We'll just terminate one last incident we'll take. There was a doctor, Dr. Salih as-Salim. He was from Saudi, and this incident took place about 100 years ago, more than 100 years ago, in a place called Taiba. So the Arab people, these were the Bedouins, they were living out in the desert. So every day in the months of spring, these Arabs, they go out and they have a look at the animals, how beautiful the animals are, how beautifully they are grazing, because that time everything is fertile. So they will go out and they have a look at the animals. So this particular person, his name was Ibn Jad'an. So this Ibn Jad'an, he went out to look at his animals. Big fat camels he had, mashallah, and that is a valuable asset of the Arabs. So he had this huge camel, and it had a baby also, and he had other camels as well. So one day when he went out, he thought to himself that Allah Ta'ala has given me, and my neighbor has approximately 7 daughters. And this neighbor of mine, he doesn't have any animals. So he thought to himself that let me give him this camel with the baby. I will give it to him as charity. So the ayat of the Quran Sharif also came to his mind. لَن تَنَالُوا الْبِرَّ حَتَّى تُنْفِقُوا مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ. You will never attain virtue, you will never attain righteousness until you spend from that which you love. That which you love, you spend that in the path of Allah, then you will reach Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. That greed, that love of dunya, when that comes out of the heart, then Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala will come into the heart. So he took this animal and the baby and he went and gave it to the neighbor. So the neighbor was smiling, he was so happy. He started deriving milk from that animal. And he started using that animal to load his goods, etc. And he was waiting that when would the baby now grow up? He would sell this, he would get money from this also. Now came the months where the land was no longer fertile. There was no water. So they go in search of water. In the Arab peninsula, in the Arab lands, there's what you call duhul. Duhul refers to holes. So they go into these holes and they go underground. And from underground, they get water. They derive water from underground. So there was no water, so he took his 3 sons and he said, come, let's go in search of water. So they went in search of water. They came to this area where these duhuls were, where these holes were. So this person, he went into the hole to go and get the water. It so happened that he never came out of the hole. The 3 sons were waiting outside, but he's inside. So the first day, the father never come out. They waited. The second day, the father never come out. They waited the third day. The third day, the father didn't come out. So these sons said that he is gone. Now maybe he has been killed or something has happened. Some snake or some scorpion must have killed him, and that's the end of him. So they were now worried about the inheritance. So they went home quickly and they said, let's start splitting the inheritance. So they split the inheritance, the 3 sons. So after splitting the inheritance, they thought to themselves, they said that a very valuable asset that our father owned was that camel, which he had given over to the neighbor. So they said that, they went to the neighbor, they said, see, you have 2 options. Either we give you another camel and you return this camel to us. That is the one option that you have. Or the second option is, if you don't return this camel to us, forcefully, we will take this camel away from you. So he said, I'll report you to your father. So they said, where's our father? Our father has passed away. He said, but I'm the neighbor. I don't even know your father has passed away. They said, no, he has passed away. Abad, he has passed away. So he said, show me, where has he passed away? So they said, come. He said, I'm prepared to give you the animal also. I don't want the animal, but I want to see where your father is. So they took him now to the hole, to the holes. When they reached the hole, they showed him that this is the hole he went into, and 3 days he hasn't come out of here. So he said, no problem. He gave them the animal, and he went and he got some candle or some light or whatever it must have been, and he brought the rope. He tied the rope outside, and then on the ground, he pegged it into the ground, and he tied himself with the rope. And then he got into the hole, and he slided, he went to the furthest point that he could go. When he reached the furthest point, he stopped. There he could smell that there's some moisture over here, and he could hear a person moaning and groaning, very, very slight moaning and groaning. So he went towards the voice, and he moved his hand around that particular area. finally it reached this particular person, Ibn Jal'an, who was there. He was still living after 1 week. So his hand reached him. So when he reached him, he pulled him and he got him out to some extent. When he got him out, he had taken some dry khajur with him. He took the khajur, he put it into the water and he made it a little moist. And then he gave him to eat. 1 week he hadn't eaten food. So he put him on his back and he took him out of the hole. When he took him out, he went home. Now the sons still don't know that the father is out. He took care of the father and Allah Ta'ala restored his health. He was perfectly well thereafter. When his health was restored, now when he was perfectly well, now the neighbor asked Ibn Jada'an, he says that what happened? How did you get stuck down there in the holes? So he said that when I went there, the current was so strong from all directions. I thought to myself that let me rather just sit here. Otherwise, if I'm going to go further, I'm going to get washed away. So he said, I sat down in this particular area where the water was. So I said, I'll have water and that will suffice me. At least I can quench my thirst and I will survive. He says, for 3 days I drank water. But he says, after 3 days, I could not take it any longer. I didn't have the energy to survive after 3 days. So he said, what I did, I just lay down. I handed myself over to Allah. That, Ya Allah, now I'm ready, you can take me away. He says that day after, he says that a pot would come with boiling milk, with hot milk. And this milk would be brought right to my mouth and I would drink this milk. So he says every day this milk would come and for 3 days I drank this milk. He says but for the last 2 days there was no milk that came to me. So now he explains, this neighbor now, he explains to Ibn Jad'an. He said for those 3 days that the milk was coming to you, those were the days that I was deriving milk from your camel. When I was getting milk from there, Allah was sending milk for you here. And when I stopped, because your sons took away the camel, Allah stopped the milk over here also. So when a person, he spends, he gives in the path of Allah Ta'ala, how doesn't Allah Ta'ala protect a person? A person that takes care of the elderly and they make dua for us in our home, how doesn't Allah Ta'ala take care of us? So this is a great lesson we must take. There was one student that was from Australia. No, he was actually from Canada. He was studying in Darul Azhar. So he was a neighbor, we were living next to one another. And one day he told me, he says that I had a brother that was in the wheelchair. I said my father had already reached old age, but my father was well and healthy. He used to take care of my brother. He says it so happened, Allah Ta'ala's decision, Allah Ta'ala's decree, my brother had passed away. He said the day my brother passed away, he says immediately my father lost all that energy that he had. And shortly thereafter, the father also passed away. So where was the energy coming from? Because he was taking care of that son of his that was in the wheelchair. Allah Ta'ala was giving him that energy. So because of the weak people, the little children that we have in our home, we take care of them, Allah Ta'ala takes care of us. Allah Ta'ala give me tawfiq, all of us, inshallah. اللهم صل على سيدنا مولانا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا مولانا محمد وبارك وسلم فاذكروني أذكركم أنا جليس من ذكرني दिल मेरा हो जाए एक मैदान तू ही तो और मेरे तन में बजाए आवागिल दर्द दिल हो दर्द दिल गैर से बिल्कुल ही उतर जाए नजर तू ही तो आए नजर देखो जिधर ला इलाहा इल्लल्लाह मुहम्मदुर रसूलुल्लाह सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ला इलाहा इल्लल्लाह 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 मुहम्मदुर रसूलुल्लाह सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम इलाही दिल में मेरे गैर का असर न रहे सिवाय तेरे किसी पर मेरी नजर न रहे तो कर में खबर सारी खबरों से मुझको इलाही रहूं मैं खबरदार तेरा ला इलाहा इल्लल्लाह 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 ला इलाहा इलाही आता हो दर्द दर्द दिल के मरता है बेदर्द बीमार तेरा कोई तुझसे कुछ कोई कुछ चाहता है, मैं तुझसे हूँ या रब तलबगार तेरा। नहीं दोनों आलम से कुछ मुझको मतलब, तू मतलूब में वो तालिब तेरा। उठा गम रख उम्मीद इमदाद हक से, तुझे गम है क्या। ला इलाहा इल्लल्लाह 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 मुहम्मदुर रसूलुल्लाह सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम। कोई मुझसे पूछे मैं क्या मांगता हूँ, मैं अपने खुदा से खुदा मांगता हूँ। हो जाए मेरा मैं हो जाऊँ उसका, यही रात दिन में दुआ मांगता हूँ। अता कर दे वो मुझको अपनी मोहब्बत, मैं उसके सिवा कुछ और नहीं मांगता हूँ। है नाराजगी जिसकी दोज़ख से बढ़कर, उसी ज़ात की बस रिदा मांगता हूँ। असल मुझे दुनिया की ख्वाहिश नहीं, मैं बख्शिश बरोज़े जज़ा मांगता हूँ। ला इलाहा इल्लल्लाह 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 मुहम्मदुर रसूलुल्लाह सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम। यार रहे यार तू मेरा और मैं भी तेरा यार हो, मुझको फ़क़त तुझसे हो मोहब्बत, खल्क़ से मैं बेज़ार हो। हर दम फिक्र में तेरे मस्त रहूं सरशार हो। होश रहे न मुझको किसी का तेरा मगर होशियार रहो। अब तो रहे बस्ता दम आखिर विर्द दुबाए मेरे ला इलाहा इल्लल्लाह 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 मुहम्मदुर रसूलुल्लाह सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम। नाराय मस्ताना खुशनी आए दम, ताबद जाना चुनी निभाए दम। अल्लाह जल्ल जलालहू ताला शानुहु। अल्लाह 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 कैसा प्यारा नाम है, आशिकों का मीना और जाम है। अल्लाह 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 नीचे शीरीन अस्तना, शीरो शक्कर में शवद जानम तमाम। अल्लाह 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 अल्लाह। अपने मिलने का पता कोई निशा, तू बता दे मुझको ए रब्बे जहां। अल्लाह 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 अल्लाह। कुल्लु मन अलैहा फ़ान वयबक़ा वजहु रब्बिका ज़ुल जलालि वल इकराम। अल्लाह 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 اللهم لك الحمد كله ولك الشكر كله ولك الملك كله وإليك يرجع الأمر كله. اللهم لا نحصي ثناء عليك أنت كما أثنيت على نفسك. اللهم صل على سيدنا مولانا محمد كلما ذكره الذاكرون وكلما غفل عن ذكره الغافلون. اللهم افتح أقفال قلوبنا بذكرك وأتمم علينا نعمتك وأسبغ علينا من فضلك واجعلنا من عبادك الصالحين. اللهم آت نفوسنا تقواها وزكها فأنت خير من زكاها أنت وليها ومولاها. اللهم ارحمنا بترك المعاصي ولا تشغلنا بمعصيتك. جزا الله عنا محمدا صلى الله عليه وسلم بما هو أهله. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا يا مولانا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله.